Hey y'all, it's Ashley here at the Realm of Comics, where we talk everything manga, comics, and graphic novels. Today I'm here to do a first impressions of the manga Crazy Food Truck Volume 1, which I do own a copy of it, but I have no idea where I put my copy, which is not good. Actually, I do know where it is. It's upstairs. I'm not gonna go get it because I just don't have the energy to go get it. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about Crazy Food Truck, which I have thoughts. I haven't even marked it as read on Goodreads, and I read it 2 weeks ago at this point. Okay, so if you didn't know, Crazy Food Truck is a post-apocalyptic manga. It was done up by Rukuro Ogaki, and I had heard a lot about this. I remember when Prof Otaku read it, and when Shay from Shay Geeks Out read it as well, and they both kind of had mixed opinions on it. I know Shay said that she wasn't going to continue with the series. I, at that time, I think had already bought Volume 1, so I just wanted to give it a try, and so here we are. I also had put it in my 5 manga series that I needed to start this year, so there we go. It essentially, like, literally is following this food truck driver who's living in a post-apocalyptic world. In the beginning of this manga, you don't really know much about him. You don't really know much about the world. All you know is that it seems to be kind of devoid of water. And so he is trying to continue a food truck business to sell to customers that essentially do not exist. So when he's out in the desert, he ends up coming across this young girl who has an issue with clothes. And that is the biggest hiccup that I have with this. If you know anything about me, I love food manga. I was a huge fan of Food War. Shokugeki no Soma was a huge fan. Am a huge fan because I like food-based manga. And I know that quite a few of y'all have been wrecking food-based manga to me, and I've wanted to try some stuff out, like Delicious Dungeon. Is that what it's called? I think. I hope I'm not butchering the name. But I really, really wanted to try, you know, some nude food manga. When I heard that this was post-apocalyptic food-based manga, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it. But I did hear about the excessive nudity of this young girl in the manga. She has a very interesting personality, and I think that the mashup between the two of them in terms of vibes-wise and the friendship that they end up building is really, really fascinating, and I like it. But I think that the excessive nudity, like her, literally just panels of her walking around with no bra, no shirt on, and her boobs are out, is just kind of like, it's weird. I don't feel like it really adds anything to the story. I don't feel like there's really a purpose for it unless it's supposed to be humorous. And I guess as a woman reading it, I don't find it humorous because it doesn't feel like it has anything to do with the plot of the story, neither really to do with her character development, because I think she could still be this kind of like awkward, quirky character that is, you know, trying to find her footing with this guy who is much older and apparently has this secret past that we don't really know much about as readers. And I think that without the nudity, it would have worked just fine, but the nudity just felt weird. It was just an awkward placement for the excessive nudity, which some people find it funny. I didn't find it humorous, especially without context. Like, it just was like, okay, we're just gonna show her boobs on a panel because we're just gonna show her boobs on a panel. And there's a lot of times with comics in general, regardless of whether they're Japanese comics, whether it is, you know, comics here in the US, there is this very thin line of how women are portrayed. And a lot of times it comes off in very demeaning ways, and it can be excessive. And in this particular series, I did feel like it was excessive. And it's disappointing because I think the actual world building, the fact that there is no water, so when they went, there's a scene, which it's not spoiling, there's a scene in which they go fishing, right? And they take poles and everything, but there are octopus that live in the sand. And he's able to detect where they should fish by these, I don't know if they're barnacles or not, but you can see that this place used to be underwater, and essentially it's dried out, but you still have these fish, or what used to be fish and sea life that we're familiar with, they still exist to a certain degree. And so that aspect of it was just fascinating. And like him talking about the dishes, kind of like, you know, the elements that you see typically with a food manga. I love that. I loved that he had a very secret past, and there's something tied to him as well as something tied to her. Like when he finds her, she is actually wanted by whoever the people are in charge. It's the military, pretty much. The military wants her, and he doesn't know why, but he also has some weird connection or past to the military as well. We just don't know what it is at this point in volume 1. And so you have all of these amazing, fantastic elements. I was really enjoying the art. I was enjoying the pacing of the manga. But then just like the random panels where she would like, he'd have to turn, well, he'd be like facing forward when they're in the RV, and he'd be like, okay, like, and he'd look, she wouldn't have any clothes on, and he'd be like, can you please put your clothes on? Like, you've got to, you know, you have to wear a bra. And it wasn't sexual. It wasn't like sexualized on his end. But that's why I keep saying, like, I don't understand, like, why this girl just never wore clothes. It's just weird. It was just weird. It's just a weird kind of situation going there. And I'm like, why is this even a thing? Why are we doing this? What does this add to the story? What character does this add? Like, what does it add to the plot? Like, how does it affect the page? It's random. It's completely random. And so I was definitely like on the fence about it. Like, if it did not have the nudity in it, which nudity doesn't bother me, but you have to read this to understand that, like, there's no context to the nudity. And even I am okay with like some fan service to a certain degree, but this just felt a little awkward. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This just, and I think like Shay had said when she had read it, like, I think the age gap makes it a little worse, that it just feels very awkward and just not 100% comfortable. So without all of that, I feel like I would have given it a 4 or 4.5 because I just found just the storytelling part of it to be interesting, but that just kind of dropped it down for me to like a 3-star. I am very much so on the fence about continuing. I can't remember if Prof Otaku had read the second volume or not. I can't remember off the top of my head. I will have to go back and look at some of his wrap-ups to see if he read the second volume. I thought it was supposed to be a 2-volume series, but apparently it got enough traction that there is a 3rd volume. I'm trying to see if it's released yet. Yeah, so they did do a 3rd volume, and it is already out. It released March 21st. So they just did a 3rd volume of this. I don't know if it's going to continue beyond the 3rd volume, but even for me right now, I'm not even sure that I am going to continue with the rest of the series. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence because my library does not carry Crazy Food Truck. And so if I was to continue, I would either have to buy a physical or digital copy of it. And I'm not sure that that is a thing that I want to do. So there's that. But let me know, y'all, if you have any like food manga recommendations, please drop them down in the description box. Not the description box. Drop them down in the comments below, because I would love to have some more food manga recommendations, because this was just so disappointing to a certain extent. This was disappointing because I think I was enjoying it, and it just was strange. It was just really, really strange. It was strange. It was like doing something strange for a little piece of change. Like, it was just weird. It was weird. It was weird. But yeah, it's probably going to be 3 stars. Like I said, I haven't even marked it as currently reading on Goodreads. I read it 2 weeks ago. I haven't done a review or anything like that, so this is my review of it. But if you've read it, let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you have any food manga recommendations, leave those down in the comment box below. And as always, if you're looking to follow me on social media, make sure you check the description box for all of my links. If you want to see more from me, click the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications, and I will be back with another video soon.